So people say that Adam and Eve couldn't exist. Well, obviously the first ones had to exist. They say they can't populate a planet. Well, technically it only takes one of them, okay, to populate. All right, so we know that Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal existed on the planet at the same time, okay? So if Eve came out of Adam, chances are she was his daughter, okay? So now Neanderthal passed adaptive genes, and eventually the first Cro-Magnon man evolves, okay? The genes which qualify him to be Cro-Magnon are passed from a Neanderthal, and boom, the first Cro-Magnon man is born, okay? So he takes a wife at the time, which is a Neanderthal, because they're the only ones technically that exist because he's the first Cro-Magnon, okay? So he takes a Neanderthal, Lilith, as his wife. So he has an offspring. Now this baby is a hybrid, half Cro-Magnon, half Neanderthal, okay? So then he mates with his own daughter. Now you got 3/4 Neanderthal, and then a quarter, or 3/4 Cro-Magnon, and then a quarter Neanderthal, okay? Now he had 3 daughters, 3 sons. Of course, Abel died, but he still had 2 sons and 3 daughters, okay? And they all had children, which thins the Neanderthal blood even more, okay? So technically, this is how the rise of Cro-Magnon happened, okay? Because adaptive cells, literally, or genes, will be passed genetically. And eventually, what qualifies something to be that form will evolve. Just like what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, technically, the egg came first. Because whatever chicken, what didn't qualify as a chicken yet, laid the egg, those eggs contain the genes which qualify as a modern chicken instead of a proto-chicken. You see what I'm saying? So say a proto-man exists, passes genes, and now his offspring qualifies him as a Cro-Magnon man, okay? So Eve was his daughter, so, the Y and X genes are in Adam, obviously, and this signifies that the man is going to carry both of these genes, the Y and X factors, which we see in nature. Also, we see that with nuclear energy, because nuclear energy, which are neutrons, will decay into protons and electrons, okay? That means they carry the Y and X factor. And alpha also means father. Plus, we get nuclear energy from our fathers, hence the importance of the word alpha. So, technically, it's all about energy. And energy and the laws of thermodynamics only coincide perfectly, so I'm just saying. Now, the 10 sons of Adam, the nuclear DNA, now this is proven, okay? Now, get this, the 10 sons of Adam, that would be Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Malil, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, then Noah, okay? Then the flood, all right? These are the 10 nuclear DNA that all the men and women and children share on the planet. We have 10 fathers, basically. The main ones that we share. The 10 sons of Adam, okay? So, technically, after the flood, that's when everything diverges, okay? Because Noah's children had their wives on the ark with them, and they all started diverging. They had their children had children, their children had children. This is when the generations started growing again, all right? So, Jesus is technically the 66th generation from Noah. Of course, the Bible contains 66 books also. And I'm not going to get into the sixes, I'm just throwing those out there on this video because it's just a little ironic that more sixes just happen to fall into place, But I'm just throwing it out there. So technically, it only takes one species, one individual of a species to be able to rise and create a whole new species by just breeding them out, because the dominant genes will take over, and this adaptive gene which qualified it as Cro-Magnon was the dominant gene which eventually took over. It's very simple, but people would rather believe in stuff that doesn't make sense rather than what makes sense, and then they'll make up all kinds of crazy stuff that makes no sense and claim that's real just to claim that it's not real. I don't get a lot of these people. It's crazy how people are so fucked up. I'm just saying.